It was shortly after 2 a.m. I waited for the house to quiet down, and the only sound I could hear was the chatter from the television. I had my opportunity. I walked over to my mother, and I grabbed her by the hand and whispered, "Mom, meet me outside. It's time to leave." And then we shut the door gently behind us as we tiptoed out onto the front porch. And then we walked away into the night, pitch darkness. We left behind all that we had ever known. We left behind certainty. We left behind an abusive home. We never looked back. We never returned. And although I did not realize it then, at 9 years old, bouncing from foster home to foster home in social services, I later discovered a principle that guided my behavior that night and led me to where I am today. A principle that I want to share with you here this evening. Leadership is not an age. Leadership is action. I had taken action that night. Throughout history, we've come to define leadership as influence. The more people you influence, the greater your leadership. But we've also misattributed an age to leadership, as if to say you must first be stamped by a certain number of years before you can be considered a leader. But some of our greatest leaders in history were young when they acted upon whatever it was that stitched their names into the fabric of time. They took action. No matter where I go, I wait for the burning question, and it always comes without fail. I got the question in Iraq, of all places, as a young combat engineer. I got the question as a police officer. I was the youngest on my shift. I get the question all the time in academia. I'm one of the youngest professors in my field. "How old are you?" they ask. And it's usually followed by some comment about how they expected someone much older. I never respond, but on the off chance that I do give an answer, I emphasize my father's age. He was born in 1915, I tell them. And then I stand back and watch them muse as they attempt to calculate those numbers in their head, the same way that you're doing right now as I'm speaking. Young people, you must learn to embrace who you are, where you are. Imagine if Alexander the Great, who ascended to the throne at the age of 20, had said to himself, "I'll just wait till I'm 30 to get things going." How many kingdoms would he have conquered? Would he have created the vast empire that changed the face of the ancient world? Imagine if Joan of Arc, an illiterate peasant girl who claimed she could save France after receiving an inspired vision, had whispered to herself, "Now's no time to lead an army and win battles. After all, I'm only a girl and a teenager. I'll wait till I grow up." Would we remember her name? Imagine if the founders of this nation, many of whom were in their 20s and 30s in 1776, had decided that they needed more experience with this nation-building stuff before they declared their independence from Great Britain. Would the land of the free that we call home today be free? Success does not require a license. So Gordon MacKenzie writes his book, Orbiting the Giant Hairball. And he places one sentence in chapter 19, 8 words. Orville Wright did not have a pilot's license. The Wright brothers possessed no qualifications as pilots. They didn't spend hundreds of hours in a flight simulator before they attempted to try out the real thing. They didn't wait for someone to tap them on the shoulder and give them permission to embark upon their crazy idea. They took action. They built a plane. They flew a plane. And their success came after they acted, not before it. More importantly, their success did not require a license. It didn't exist. It required action. Too many of our young people today have been led to believe that age is somehow a qualifier for success. Too many of our young people today have been led to believe that a credential is what will lead them to their next great idea and give them permission to follow their passion. I've heard those lines for years. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against education. Get all that you can. I'm not against qualifications. Get all that you can. But they are not prerequisites for success. They may enhance your personage, but they do not define you as a person. Let no one despise your youth. Eleanor Roosevelt has said to a remark that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. But when you allow someone to despise your youth, when you allow someone to look down upon you because of your youth, when you allow someone to define you because of your youth, you are consenting to inferiority. Don't. Instead, see their misplaced judgment of your age for what it really is: insecurity. Those who don't take action always despise those who do. So when people give me the question, how old are you? They always place the emphasis on age, but that's all wrong. The emphasis should be placed on how. How have you accomplished this? How have you done so much in so little time? How have you separated yourself from the herd? How have you remained steadfast, immovable? How have you taken action? The next time somebody asks you about your age, do not give them a numerical figure. Just tell them how. Most fittingly, it was our youngest U.S. President, Theodore Roosevelt, who gave us the best advice on what to do at any age. What Roosevelt was able to accomplish in his short life was simply astonishing. New York State Assemblyman, cowboy, Civil Service Commissioner, Colonel of the Rough Riders, Governor of New York, Vice President of the United States, President of the United States, trust buster, conservationist, canal builder, visionary, the list goes on. His approach to life was adapted from advice he had received from his father at a very young age, who told him to always seize the moment. TR didn't wait for a certain age or for the perfect time to take action. Instead, he encouraged us all to get action, do things, be sane, don't fritter away your time, create, act, take a place wherever you are and be somebody. Get action. Do you know why? Because leadership is not an age. Leadership is action.